something came up in one of my recent live streams that blew my mind because I had no idea that this is how some of my students were feeling. So when I say high achieving and driven, it is not attached to a number or a bank account or a certain like social status. It is actually a brain wiring and like how you see the world and how you function in the world. And so when I was doing this live stream, it's called the Frequency of Certainty Masterclass. By the way, there's 2 parts now. So if you want to take part in that, I definitely recommend it. It came up that one of my students said that she thought high achieving meant that it was like some like number in the bank account, and because she hadn't reached that number yet, she was like, oh, I'm not high achieving. Even though when I went through like the qualities of driven high achieving women, she was like, I am all of those things. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that this woman is going to reach those numbers, but she's on the journey right now. So for example, I knew that Alina was a driven, ambitious, high achieving person when she was 18 months old. She was a baby. Obviously, she wasn't making hundreds of thousands of dollars. She wasn't making 6 figures at this point, but I could just tell because of these qualities. So let's really dive deep into these qualities, because I can't have you be a driven, high achieving woman out in the world judging yourself that you're not it. Because when you can own this part of you, you're just going to go so much further, because that certainty, that knowing inside of you isn't going to be creating doubt in your mind, which makes us kind of like break that momentum and like stop and go, or judge ourselves that I'm not there yet when you are actually it. These qualities are something that is happening because they're embedded in you. They came through your DNA line. And depending on where you fall and like your epigenetics of it, it's gonna be either high or lower or somewhere in the middle. And all of that is okay. So number 1 is that you have this attitude when you show up somewhere, whether it's like your first retail job. Like I had this attitude with my first job ever, where I was making $7.25, right? This was like when I was like 16, 17. So a very, very long time ago. And I showed up and my attitude wasn't, I'm making $7 an hour. Let me just like clock in and clock out. My attitude was like, this is my work, right? Like at this moment, this is my work. And I took ownership of it. And I became like a major part of the team. I've actually never went to an interview where I wasn't hired on the spot. And I've never had a job where I wasn't promoted very quickly, because I show up and it's like, okay, what do we need to do? What do you need me to do? Like, it doesn't matter if it's not a part of my job description. It doesn't matter to me if like, hey, I'm not getting paid enough for me. It's like, okay, what do I need to do to make this successful, to be successful? And so you have this like can-do team player, like I've got this, I've got myself attitude in life. And it also comes with this thing of like, I will figure it out. So you're not someone that is like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Your attitude, like your brain instantly goes to, I don't know how to do this yet, let me figure it out. And you are a like, we will figure it out, like I'm in solution consciousness kind of girl, okay? The other thing is very common with high achieving, successful, like driven women is you excel at most things you do. Even if you're a beginner when you start, it's like everything you've done before just compounds. Like even when Alina was like 18 months old, like whatever we were doing, she would like be a part of it and like want to learn. And even if she couldn't participate, she would watch very intently. She's 11 years old now, and she can run our entire household. She just has this eye for things, and she'll just tell you like it is. She'll say, don't do it this way, do it this way. Here, let me help you with that. Like she's just got it. It's just this quality of like, let's figure this out. I'm here. We're in this together. I have your back, and we're gonna figure this out. Okay. The next one is everywhere you go, you almost like see beyond the matrix. So people that don't have this genetics, these traits, they show up and they're like, okay, what do I have to do? Let me like follow the rules. And there's nothing wrong with that. We need those people too, as I talked about in the frequency of certainty class. Like that's like 90% of the people. That's like 90% of the human population. And these two types have been like very extensively studied. And so the type that are like show up and they're like, okay, let me clock in, let me do everything properly. They like to be like told what to do, follow the rules. They like to dot their I's and cross their T's and make sure that they're like following all the rules and the orders. And obviously society needs that, right? When we show up and we're like, you have to do it this way, we're like, do we? And so it's so funny because one of my mentors said we're almost like unemployable. And I've had corporate jobs, but I always would like side eye when people said this is the way it has to be done. And this is the order that you have to follow. We just don't think that way. We can play along for a little bit, but like we're like seeing above the matrix. We're like, are you sure it has to be done this way? Like this doesn't even make any sense. But when we tell, the other type of people, they are like, no, like they're afraid of us. They're like, you're going to get us fired. Like you're going to get us arrested. Like, no, we have to follow the rules. And we see above that. Now, if we choose to play along, we can, but there's still always this feeling of how come no one else is seeing what I'm seeing? Okay. The other quality of successful, high achieving women, and by the way, this the 10% of the population that has this way of functioning, I'm guesstimating that half are men, half are women. So there's just going to be 5% of like women in the world that just naturally have this way of functioning. We just see it more now because we weren't really allowed to be this way for most of civilization and history, and even before that, right? And now that we're allowed to, or giving ourselves permission to do so, you're seeing this come out more and more and more and playing out. The other quality of these people is that there's always this desire for more and better. And sometimes they look around at the others and they say, well, how come this person is just like happy and content with this? And our happiness and content comes from setting the next desire and goal, achieving it, and then moving on to the next thing. We often get judged that, oh, why can't you just be happy? Why can't you just be content? And the others don't really understand that that is our happiness. It's not that we're going with like, I'm so unhappy, let me want the next thing. We see this world as this like game of evolution and like game of how good can it get, and this game of like, I wonder how it would be if I also had that. And we are really the visionaries of society, the trailblazers. And so we're designed to want more and better. And once we blaze that trail and like create those big visions, everyone copies that. And that's how society works. Like we're almost like meant to be copied. And this can be very triggering for us when we're not aware of this, because we're like, wait, this was my idea and now everyone's like taking it. But it's because the others don't always have like first principle ideas, and they also are not that creative because they are used to following the rules. It has to be done this way. So they're not really opening up their mind and exercising their creative abilities as much as they could, because they're so, not only are they wired for this, they're also conditioned for this, right? Through the way that our schooling system is, because it prepares people for like the factory worker kind of a mindset, because that's when the school curriculums were set, and we're still following that. Versus us, we're designed to think outside the box. We are designed to think bigger. We're designed to like think of ideas and remix things and create something new that hasn't been done before. And it can be really jarring when you do that. And a lot of times other people will show up, take your ideas, not give you credit, and like say it was their thing. I know, if you have this gene, you know how that feels like. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to understand. It's meant to be that way. And I know it can feel kind of like jarring and like heartbreaking, and you feel like something was stolen from you. But I really want you to think of it as like you are playing at the edge of civilization. You're always playing at the edge of consciousness. You're a visionary that can see things that are beyond what everyone else can even access. You are so important. And once something you've already created it or taught it, think of it almost as like your yesterday's dirty laundry, okay? Let them take that, because that's not the only thing you're gonna create. Move on to the next thing. Everyone's looking at you. They've always looked at you. If you really think about it, like they've always looked at the way you've dressed or the way you've carried yourself. People like that can't think like you do. They need you to come up with the ideas that then they're gonna make it trendy. They're gonna take it. They're gonna, follow the rules with it. But there's always more. You're literally getting the ideas from the quantum fields. You're someone that your brain is wired to think in multiple dimensions. This is why when some people say, well, what do you eat? Or what books are you reading? And you tell them, and they still can't get it because their brain is not wired. Like they've literally set these two types of people on MRIs, like where they're studying the brain. And for the 90% of the population, only like the left hemisphere of the brain pops or lights up. And for the drivens, the successful people, the multi-passionates, the ambitious people, it's several parts of the brain light up at the same time. And so when we're reading a book, we're not just reading the book. We're taking that information and it's interacting with us from everything we've previously read, learned, experienced, seen, and we're remixing it in ways that people cannot imagine, right? And that's why we become those outliers. That's why we are the Beyoncés and the Oprahs and the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos. It's just Einstein had this gene. Like we can take the same stuff, but what we're going to create with it, because of the way that we have this multi-dimensional way of thinking, it's going to be far beyond what the regular person is going to read, because they're just reading the words on the page. We're creating this whole other universe with those same words, okay? The other thing is you are a multi-passionate. This is why if you are a content creator, you can't niche down. You look around you and everyone else is niching down and you try. I know you've tried because I know I've tried, and you cannot. Because of the way that your brain is wired, you cannot niche down. You are multi-passionate. You have so many different things that you can study at the same time and take things in multi-dimensional ways that other people can't even imagine. And they have their gifts and their shadows, and we have our gifts and our shadows. So it comes with duality. It's two sides of a coin, right? But don't worry about trying to niche down. Don't worry about why can't I just master this one thing? Why do I have to keep going to so many different things? Because that's what mastery looks like for you. So for the others, the 90%, when they are trying to master something, they will study one thing till the end, right? They'll go all in. And what will happen when you're a multi-passionate and you're looking at them is they will appear to be way more mastered at something because they are spending all of their time and energy in one thing, which is so beautiful. And then you're going to start judging yourself because you can't do that and you feel behind. But when you study 4 or 5 different things at the same time, we've been told that's the jack of all trades, master of none. That is incorrect. That's true for the others. For us, when we study 4 or 5 different things and master them all eventually, the multi-universe that we end up creating, because we can pull on all of these dimensions, our growth might appear slower than the person who has just one niche or one mastery, but it's exponential. Once it compounds, it is exponential. So let me give you an example from my real life. So when I started my YouTube channel 14 years ago, I had one topic that I was talking about, and my channel had channel authority on that after a while. And then I moved on to the next topic. and I lost a whole bunch of subscribers, and then I didn't have channel authority on anything for a while, and then I gained channel authority on the new topic, and tons of more people came. And then once that happened, I moved on to the next thing. I've done this like 6 or 7 times in the last 14 years. While this was happening, I had slow subscriber growth because it seemed like I was stopping, going and then stopping, going and then stopping. That's what it looked like on the outside. And I was watching other people come in with their brand new YouTube channels talking about one topic consistently, which the algorithms prefer, and they skyrocketed with hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, okay? But here's the thing. Eventually, those people started becoming my clients. And I was shocked to learn that a lot of these people are not making much money. They have millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, but they're not making, even in a year, what I can make in a week. And I was like left scratching my head. Like I was like, are you guys like almost trying not to make money? Like what the hell is going on? And I started just having these discussions with some of my own mentors who were similar to me, multi-passionates. And they said they have seen the exact same thing. And as we started talking about this, we discovered that because the algorithm favors like one topic and niche, they did have quick growth in this one thing. But because the people that we're attracting, they're multi-passionates like us, they actually invest highly in programs and coaching and mentorship with people who are also multi-passionate people like them. And typically these are the people that are like designed to invest in a lot of courses and buy coaching, because these are the people that are always looking at growth. They're always looking forward. What else can I learn? How else can I go forward? What else can I compound? And these people also value mastery in many different areas because it's unique. Like if you really think of like Elon Musk, right? He's like the Tesla guy, but now he's talking about going to Mars because he's pulled on so many different dimensions of learning. His brain thinks in ways that the average person cannot even comprehend, right? Like when I have clients that say this seems so hard, I'm like, yeah, and Elon Musk thinks it's easy to go to Mars. And that just activates something, right? It's like we're thinking creating a website is hard, and like this dude who is also a human being having access to the same kind of information and education and everything we have access to, he thinks it's easy to go to Mars. So let's expand our horizons a little bit more, right? And so that's what's going to happen. Your growth will appear slow, and then it will compound and skyrocket because of your ability to think in so many dimensions, right? Here's another example. If someone who's like a normal person, the 90%, they have mastered creating a website. Okay, that's like their jam. They have gone all in for 20 years. They put in their 10,000 hours, as Malcolm Gladwell will say, right? And they're masters of their craft. And I come across their page. I might hire them. I might be like, okay, please do my website. And they do my website. It's like, bye. Done. Right? I paid them for this service. They created my website. I'm done. But when someone lands on our page, right, or our expertise, and they see that we have so many dimensions and we're always growing and evolving. And so this is why I have such a high enrollment rate. If someone buys one thing from me, it's a guarantee. It's like we had done this, we had studied this years ago, but it was like 95 some percentage of chance that they're going to buy something else, because I have so many passions that I have mastered over 44 years. They're like, oh, she also does relationships. Oh my God. And she also knows so much about this. They're always sticking around. It's not like, okay, Mina created my website, bye. And so it's just a different way of functioning. So please stop judging yourself and trying to force yourself in a box that you are not designed to be forced in, okay? If you are a driven, successful, ambitious, multi-passionate being, you also tend to doubt yourself, because as I said, it's experts guesstimate that it's 7 to 10% of the population that have this genetics, that are wired this way. And when we look around us, most people are not that way. And so a lot of times they judge us and we also judge them. But when we can collaborate together, we can learn, we work so well together. And I talked about this in my frequency of certainty class. But when we look around and we're being judged as like impulsive, we move too fast, why are you so impatient? Why can't you be content? You did this, now you're moving on to the next thing. We start doubting ourselves and we start saying, wait, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy with this one thing? And I want you to know that you are not designed that way. That bores the hell out of us. Being happy with this one thing for the rest of our life, like, we just aren't designed that way. And thank God, because we would have no innovations. We would have no like next level consciousness. Like civilization would all just be following these rules that were set years ago, and like nothing would progress if we did not exist. So please don't doubt yourself. I want you to have absolute certainty in how you're designed. And the same goes for the others. If you're like, no, I don't resonate with being ambitious or high achieving, I am just like a rule follower. I like consistency. I want to just grab one thing and do it for the rest of my life. Great. Don't judge yourself with the ambitious people. Don't judge yourself with the high achieving. That's not you, and that's okay. We're just designed differently. Okay. The other thing, because you doubt yourself and because you're always wanting to grow, is that you can go into this mindset of like, is there something wrong with me? Am I broken? Do I need to fix myself? And the answer is no, ma'am. Okay? We're used to seeing society say that I'm only going to grow and I'm only going to get help if something is broken, right? Like it's the therapy model, because that's when the others go to evolve, is when there's something wrong. When they can't even do basic level normal functioning, or they feel like they're at a minus, they go to therapy to get to normal. We don't like normal. We are allergic to normal. So we don't do inner work because we're broken. We do inner work because we're like, what else is there for me? What else can I grow into? How else can I evolve? We are literally the definition of evolution and consciousness and growth. And this is like a lifelong pursuit for us. So no, there is nothing wrong with you and you are not broken. Society just convinces you of that because society is created for the average normal people. It's not created. We're the weirdos in this world trying to fit in, okay? Another thing is common with us is that we have kind of an obsessive nature, okay? Like it is what it is. When I get fixated on something, like I want to learn this one thing, I'm not going to read one book on it, right? I'm going to buy every single book in existence on it. And then I'm going to sign up for every mentorship coaching container on it. And then I'm going to take every course on it. And then I'm going to sit and contemplate on all of this stuff. And then I'm going to create something so unique and different that's never been created because of my multi-dimensional way of thinking. That's how like we master stuff. But at any point in time, if someone's like, stop learning this, or why are you learning this, or like stop being obsessed with this, I can't. It's like a rocket or a bullet train that's taken off. It cannot be stopped. It's just better if you just get out of my way at that point, because I will not stop until I master that thing from every dimension possible, and create like a whole mini like PhD on it, and then create something new that's never been created in quite that way, because I'm not just taking the information from those courses or books or whatever. I'm adding 44 years of everything else I've studied, like a psychopath, like a lunatic, like the multi-dimensional way that I am. I'm going to create something that's never been created. That's just what we do. That's just who we are. It's okay to be obsessive as long as you're channeling your obsession in a healthy way. We also have these shadows where we will often, especially if we're around people that doubt us all the time, we will like become obsessive and addictive in like the wrong ways, right? So a lot of men that have, men or women, I would say, like alcohol addictions or drug addictions or porn addictions, they are often people with this genetics who didn't channel it in a healthy way. They thought something was broken. They thought something was wrong with them because of they're different from society, and they're trying to numb that part down by channeling their addiction, their obsessive personality in unhealthy ways. But there is a way to do it in a healthy way. I channel my obsession and my addictions in learning, in growth, and that's why I am the best at what I do, is because I will like obsess over it. Like I tell my clients, I am more obsessed with your ascension and your growth than anyone on this planet, because that's how I channel my obsessions. The last thing I'm gonna say about the ambitious, high-achieving, successful people is you don't need to be motivated. Your desire for growth is a self-motivating mechanism. And so this is why you don't relate to most of the content out there, because it seems like they're just motivating unmotivated people. And if anything, we're overly motivated, right? Like we don't need someone to be like, get out of bed, right? Like we're already out of bed, like got out of bed before you, thank you very much, right? Like our passion, our drive, our high achieving nature, our obsession is what motivates us. And so we are not doing this like thing where we need someone to give us a pep talk. Now, sometimes what happens with successful, high-achieving people is that there might be trauma in the past where you have gone into a momentary freeze response, or you were channeling your obsession in an unhealthy way and you're experiencing burnout. And so then you might be really judging yourself. What I call the shamed self comes forward, and you're like, I have so much drive. Like I used to do this, and this. What is wrong with me now? Like, why can't I do it? I have a lesson in my nervous system reboot that is going to change your life. It's called de-icing freeze. And that will help you see what happened and why you used to be high achieving successful, but you may not be feeling that now. And then you're judging yourself, which is taking you down this like nasty spiral. So here's the thing. A lot of time driven successful people, we go into the world and we're going into mentorship groups or coaching or watching content, and we feel like it's not designed for us, because it's not. It's designed for the 90% of people that like follow the rules, and they need to be motivated, and even when that content is designed by successful people, they're still speaking to those people. There's more of them oftentimes, right? And so we can go and feel like, oh, like, is this too basic for me? Like, is this, like, can these people hold me? I'm too above this. Like, I don't need to be motivated. And here's what I want you to know. All of my work from the beginning of my YouTube channel journey, 14 years, all my coaching courses, all my mentorship containers are all designed by a driven, successful, high-achieving women for driven, high-achieving women. And in the last couple of years, well, since the beginning actually, I assumed everyone knew this because I'm that way and I'm always talking to that person. But what happened is other people are often attracted to our results. They don't have our abilities to think in multi-dimensions way, to go, our resilience, our grit, our staying power, but they want our results. And so other people came in and I was getting really confused, like, wait a minute, like, why does this person need to be motivated? That's not how we are, right? And I had to really look at my content and say, maybe I need to like explicitly spell out that I am a very driven, successful, high-achieving woman, meaning this is not just a status, it's like how I'm wired. And I'm always talking to that person that is wired that way. And other people have bought my courses and coaching and they've gotten results, like 80-90% will get some results of those people. But they can't always go at my speed. Okay, I'm very fast moving. I go faster than the freaking clock. I'm super impatient. I'm so impatient that I get highly rewarded by God for like having speed and momentum. And they're not always going to be able to do that. And so you will be able to do that. If you resonate with everything I spoke, you can move at my speed because you are designed to move at that speed. The only thing stopping you is your own judgment. When you look at everyone around you and they feel slow and they feel like they're content in that little bit that they have, and you're like, I don't want that. I want more and I want to go faster. But then people are talking about hustle culture. If they go fast, they start hustling. When we go slow, we're hustling because it feels like hustle in our body. It feels hard and difficult to go slow for us because we're designed to go fast. It's like telling a rocket or a bullet train that actually you're a horse and carriage buggy and you should go slow. It's not designed that way. And when things are not being used in the way that they're designed, that's actually what makes them fall apart. So there's this whole thing in my culture. And I know this is an American Western culture as well in some domains. So in my culture, it's said that an unused house deteriorates faster than a used house. This is also true for a car, right? Like you've probably heard that if you're not driving your vehicle, it's more likely to have problems. And my mom used to say this thing that things that are meant to be used should be used. If you're not using them in the way that they're meant to be used, they will curse you, like because they want to be used in that way that they were designed to be used. And I believe the same thing for human beings. If you are designed to manifest fast, if you are designed to go fast, if you are designed to want more and better and have all of these desires, and you don't allow yourself to do that because you're watching content that is created for people that are designed to go slow and manifest slow, and be content with what they have instead of wanting more, that is going to feel like hustle for you. That is going to make you literally deteriorate and feel lethargic. Because I've tried to do that. I promise you. I've watched that content and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to slow down. And I'm supposed to like rest. And I can't tell you how much more tired that makes me feel than if I'm just doing the thing that God designed me to do and move at the speed that God designed me to do. I'm not a horse and buggy carriage. I am a rocket. I am a bullet train. And so are you. And when we do that, we're actually doing that from such a relaxed state that just like lights us up. That just like gives us so much power and just radiance, and it just talking about it feels a certain way. Okay, I am editing at this end because I forgot to make a very important point. So the women that think, oh, high achieving means I have to be making lots of money, if you are a high achieving type, just everything I just told you guys about, you will make lots of money. However, don't judge yourself on the way there, because you might be in college right now, or you might be in that process where you're just studying many different disciplines and you haven't created something new with that. When we create something new with all the multi-dimensional, multi-passionate things, and we add value to everyone, that's when the money starts pouring in. Meanwhile, you might have to be doing like the regular average thing to be earning your money, but don't judge yourself based on that. Like I was saying, like with Alina, right? Like she was 18 months old and I already knew she was that, right? But she wasn't there yet where she's only 11 right now. I can already see all of that playing out for her. But it might be in her 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s by the time she takes everything that she's accumulated and mastered her entire life and creates something completely different. It's when we are in our visionary, in that trailblazer energy, when we can take things and create something and say it and do it and get the results like never been done before, that's when the money will start pouring in. So please don't judge yourself now. You have to be prepared for people judging you that are not like us and they don't get it. So a lot of my clients that are like content creators or influencers, they really struggle with this. And even clients that aren't influencers or content creators, they'll say things like, Mina, when I like studied that thing or did that thing or tried that thing, and like I was obsessed with it, and then I moved on to the next thing, or I like, had a new identity, I grew, Some people in my life are like, well, why are you changing? Like, I miss the old version of you. Or why are you quitting this and moving on to the next thing? They don't get it. They don't think we're not quitting. We are expanding. We have graduated. We're not like people that just do one thing for the rest of their life. That's just not us. We are designed to keep evolving. So we don't quit, we graduate, we complete. So that thing has been completed in our consciousness, has made part of our multiverse in our mind, and now we're moving on to the next thing that is going to also be a part of that multiverse, and that's a very important part of the process. It is always going to be the others, the normal people that will say like, I miss the old you. The people that are like us, they love the identity shift because they're also the same way. It also gives them permission. It also keeps them engaged. So if, regardless of whether you're a content creator or influencer or online business or whatever, just know that people will say that to you and you have to be okay with it. Please do not let that get in your head and mess with your head and think that you have to be something that you're not. So if you want to learn more about this, I'm inviting you into the Frequency of Certainty Masterclass, where I talked about this fully, and I talked about how to collaborate with people that don't have this genome, and because they might be in your family, they might be your coworkers, and that's good because we work really well together when we understand each other and are not wasting time judging each other or doubting ourselves. All right, so I'll link that in the description box. It is for a small cover charge at the moment of $22. Grab this masterclass and I will see you in the next one. Let me know your key takeaways. Bye.